Hello bunny fans, welcome to another episode of the Bunny Coach podcast.
One of the things I always say about rabbit bonding is that behaviour has to be looked at in context, because the exact same behaviour can mean completely different things depending on the dynamic between the rabbits, the emotional state of the rabbits, and what's happening around that moment. And I was reminded of that again this week while supporting one of my VIP clients through a bond. Inside my VIP support programme, clients get unlimited WhatsApp access to me along with Zoom calls across the month. So I'm essentially walking alongside them throughout the entire bonding process. They can send me updates, videos, questions, worries, little wins, setbacks, all of it. And honestly, this kind of support is so valuable because bonding behaviour is rarely black and white when you're in the middle of it. It can be really hard to see the wood for the trees. When you're emotionally attached to your rabbits and worried about things going wrong, it's very easy to look at one behaviour and immediately panic. So this client sent me some videos because one rabbit was mounting the other constantly. And naturally her concern was, is this becoming dominant? Is this becoming aggressive? Is this rabbit trying to bully the other one? Which are very understandable concerns because mounting is one of those behaviours people often immediately associate with dominance or problems in bonding. But when I watched the videos, what stood out to me was not just the mounting itself, it was everything else happening around it. Because this same rabbit was also repeatedly begging to be groomed. He was putting his head underneath the other rabbit while she was eating, while she was washing herself, constantly trying to initiate grooming and reassurance. Honestly, it was almost a little bit cheeky, like, while you're there grooming yourself, could you maybe give me a few licks too, please? But the issue was that he was also being quite annoying towards her at times. He had been nipping at her, lunging occasionally, mounting frequently, and from her perspective, she was basically like, absolutely not, you are wrecking my head. And honestly, fair enough. Because rabbits are emotional creatures with social dynamics and boundaries. We sometimes forget that when we reduce behaviours down to simplistic labels like dominant or submissive. The really important thing here was that the mounting itself did not actually look dominant to me, it looked frustrated. And there's a big difference. This rabbit wanted interaction, he wanted reassurance, he wanted grooming and connection from the other rabbit. But he wasn't getting the response he wanted. And because he wasn't getting that reassurance, his frustration was building and the unwanted behaviour was escalating alongside it. That's a very different dynamic from a rabbit who was trying to be the boss. And that is why context matters so much in rabbit bonding. Because if you only isolated one 5-second clip of mounting behaviour, you could easily interpret the entire situation incorrectly. But when you zoom out and look at the overall session, the emotional tone, the interactions before and after, the repeated patterns across multiple bonding sessions, suddenly the behaviour tells a completely different story. This is why I always encourage people not to obsess over individual behaviours in isolation. Instead ask what happened before this, what happened afterwards, how did the other rabbit respond, was the rabbit seeking connection, was the rabbit avoiding interaction, was tension increasing or decreasing overall, what patterns are repeating consistently. Because bonding is not about ticking behaviours off a checklist. It's about understanding relationship dynamics. And honestly, this is one of the biggest reasons people struggle when trying to bond rabbits using generic advice online. A lot of online advice treats behaviours as fixed meanings. Mounting means dominance. Grooming means submission. Chasing is bad. But real relationships are far more nuanced than that. Sometimes mounting is hormonal, sometimes it's excitement, sometimes it's overstimulation, sometimes it's frustration, sometimes it's insecurity, sometimes it's simply poor social skills, and sometimes it means I want you, I'm very excited to have you as a friend. The behaviour itself is only one small piece of the puzzle. And that is why experienced bonding support can make such a difference, because often what people really need is help interpreting the emotional context of what they're actually seeing. Not just being told this behaviour is good, this behaviour is bad, but understanding why it's happening. Because once you understand the why, you can make much better decisions about how to support the bond moving forward. If you're worried about bunny bonding, whether you haven't started yet and you're anxious about it, which is completely understandable, or you've started and you just don't feel confident that you're reading the behaviours properly or whether the rabbits are making any progress, please do get in touch. There's a link in my show notes to a bonding quiz that you can fill in to tell me exactly what's happening with your bunnies, and I'll send you a personalised email back. Each week I also open a limited amount of spaces for free bonding assessments. These are short 15-minute calls where you can chat through what's happening with your rabbits. This is for you if bonding feels stuck or you have run into issues, you haven't started yet and want to avoid mistakes, you're overwhelmed by conflicting advice online, you're thinking about getting a second or third bunny and wondering if it is a good idea, or you're not sure whether you need support, or if you do, what kind of support would be most helpful for your situation. These are not sales calls. I just know that it can really help to get things off your chest with someone who understands. And if you would like, I can talk you through my available options for you to go away and think about, and then you know where I am if you need me. Absolutely no pressure. I only open a small number of clinic spots each week, so once they're gone, that's it till next week. So grab one quick if you want one. I look forward to chatting bunnies with you. I hope you found that helpful. Thanks for listening to the Bunny Coach podcast. I look forward to chatting to you next time.